Okay, this is an overview of signing up for GitHub. GitHub.com, and once you're there you can sign up. You need to pick a username which needs to be unique. So pick a username, put your email address in there, select a password and sign up. Okay, once you've signed up you need to now go and select the free plan, which will be set for you by default. You click on continue. It'll just ask you some questions for a survey, so fill those in and then click on submit. Okay, it will send you an email to verify your account. Now once you've done that you will get to this page, and once you're here you will then need to go up to the top here and you can go down to profile. Okay, once you've got profile you can go to edit profile. Once you're here you can upload a picture, which I'll select a picture, upload that picture. You can edit it, I'll select that. Once I've got that you can put in your name. You can put in other information down the bottom. You can put a URL, you can put your location, other information. Once you're happy you can click update profile. Okay, so we just need to add an SSH key. So I just go down to settings here, and at the side we've got SSH keys. Now it gives you information how to generate them. These are just so it knows the computer that you're connecting to GitHub with, and it can identify that so you don't have to keep inputting your password in. Ideally all you're doing is really doing this once. You're having one key that identifies that computer that you're using. Okay, so what we will do is we'll just click on here to say generating SSH keys. And if we go down to here, it says add new SSH key that we're going to use. Also, you can go checking for existing SSH keys, which will do that. And what it does, it gives you a little bit of code here that you can copy. So we can just copy this bit, which is ls-al/SSH. So if I copy this, now you need to put this in the terminal. Okay, you would do this in the terminal. How you open the terminal in Apple Mac is you would go into the applications and open it up from the applications, or you can just search for it. Now I've opened it up here. If you're on a PC you probably use something like a bash that you would download from Git, but if I just paste that in here and press enter or return, it will let me know if there's any SH keys on here, and basically it hasn't found any, so I can set one up. Usually they're identified as something like id.pub.pub. These are the public ones and I don't have any actually on here. So what I will do now is I will just clear this, and in the terminal I type in clear, and I will say click on this one for generating a new one. Now this gives me some information, and what I would do is just copy this just after the $sign, and I'm going to type in the email that I'm using for my GitHub that I set up. So I put this in here, and then after this I'll just do a space and do in speech marks my email I need to set up. Okay, once I've typed in my email I can press enter or return, and it'll say generating the public key. It will save it in a default location. In the case of the Mac, it saves it in the users folder of my home directory, and it will say what it is, the ID. So I can say okay to that, so I can enter. Now once a passphrase, you don't have to do this, but it's probably good to do that, so you have a password for it. I'll type that in. You need to remember that because it will ask you for that when you connect to GitHub or you've got Git Desktop or other clients. So give the password now. Then once you've done that, press enter. It wants you to confirm it, so do it again. And then once you've done it, press enter. Now it will do the key and tell you your identification has been saved, and it has your private one, and then it's got a public one, is to now paste this in. Okay, it's got this one here, it's adding a new one to your account, and it's got some information here. So if I have this, which is PB copy, and it's got information on here, I can use this to copy my public. So I will just copy this off the line here, and I go back over to the command line, and just here, if I paste that in and press enter, now hopefully that should have copied the public key. So I need to now go up to here and come back. Let's go back here, and then back here I need to, this is in the profile where it's got settings, if you remember, and then I'm in the SSH keys, and I go add new SSH key. I need to identify my machine, or whatever I want to call it, and then down here, if I now paste, it should paste in that copy, and I just go add key. Then it will say have the fingerprint, and it will add it, and I've got that already set up now. Okay, so that's all set up, and now we're going to download Git Desktop. So Git Desktop, I'll search for that, and GitHub Desktop I've searched, so it's GitHub, it's desktop.github.com. You need to download that either for Windows or Mac, and then install it and get going. Okay, I've installed it, I've got it here on the Mac. Slightly different if you're using a PC, some differences on there. I'll probably do another tutorial how to do that on a PC. Now what we need to do now is we need to sign in. So we go up to the GitHub Desktop on the menu, go Preferences, and this is where we need to sign in with your password and user name. Okay, you need to then, once you've done that, sign in, but before that, we'll come over here, and this is on the advanced, and this is what identifies you or configures it. So if you put in, you know, a username or to identify you and the email address, that will appear. And once we've got those things, we'll come back and sign in. Now this is wants to know the pass key for the SSH that we just set up. So the passphrase that you noted down when we input it into the command line just now, you need to put that in. Okay. Now once you've done that, you click on remember in your keychain, and if you want to, and then what you would do is click OK. Then you're signed in, so I can close that down. Now once we signed in, we don't have any repositories in here. Okay, we're going to set up a repository, and this will be a repo that will be on our local machine, and then we're going to push it up to the GitHub. So if we come here, now you've got an option up at the top left here. You can add one that you've already created. You created a folder, you choose a path, and then that's what initializes it. Or you can create a brand new one, or you can clone. That's actually, if you've got one on the GitHub site, you pull that down to your local or your machine here. I'm just going to create a new one. As a default, it will put it in my home directory and call the folder GitHub, so that's fine. I will just call this number, whoops, I'll just do it in lowercase, number 1. That's what I'm going to call my repo or repository. I'm going to save it in there, and I click on create. And once I've created it, it'll appear here. It's got a little computer screen, meaning it's locally saved. Now once I've done that, I need to now create something to put in that folder. So if I go down to a text editor, okay, so I've created a scaffold out a HTML document. I'm going to save this in the repo I've just set up. So I go to File, and I go to Save. To go to my home directory, I go to GitHub, I open that up, I open up the repo I've just made, and I'm just going to call this index, and I'm going to save it inside this repo. Give it a name, index, and then I save it. Once I've saved it, I will just get this out of the way. If I go back to my Git desktop client here, it's recognized it's got one uncommitted change. So it's watching that folder and it goes, oh, there's been a file added. Do you want to commit it? So yes, I do. I'll say added index. This would be descriptive because you work in collaboration with other people or for yourself. You can put a bit of brief description to classify what you've done a little bit more, but ideally it's just what changes you've made. Now once I've done that, I just click commit to master, and that's the master branch. You'll see that up here. That's where it started from, and that's our first one. So that's what they call the head position on the master branch, and also to show you what you've just added, and that's all highlighted in green. Now if I go back, I can change something and do something new, but what I want to do is publish it. So if I click up here and click on the publish button, it will come up. Do I want to have a description? It'll have the number, number 1 that I've just named it, and I click publish. Now hopefully it will publish and put it up there. Now you'll see it's connected, so it's got me and my little avatar on there. So it's recognized that now. And if I now go back to the browser and I go to my GitHub page, I go back here, I go profile. I now go to repositories. And if I come here, you will see it's got number 1. So it's pushed it up there. And if I click here where it's got HTML and I click on history, it'll just show me there's just been one commit on there. I can click on that index, shows me all the information, all the scripting that's on there with all the lines. So you can actually have it split if you're going to see the difference, but I'll have it unified. Okay, so I'll just come back up here and just have that repo there. Now, if I go back to the desktop client, this time I want to do another change. So I'll go to brackets where I got that here, and I will just add a paragraph tag. And I'll just say hello world on there. Once I've done that, I will save it. Then I'll go back to the Git client. Whoops, haven't got that there. Go back to the Git client, and it's realized there's been a change. So I click on that and I will say hello text added, and then I will click commit to master, and you'll see here we've got another head position on there. We can move around there or move in here. Now what it'll do is show you what I've added. The green bit's what I've added. So the first one, everything was green because that's what I've added, and I've added this new line here. Right, so I need to this time, instead of publishing, because I've already published, I just need to sync it. So I sync it with what's on GitHub, and it's stopped there. And if I go back here, I'll just refresh this window. And what I've got here is got now 2 commits. So if I come up here, I go on here, I can then do what I did before and have it split. So that's the code I had first, and that's what I have now. So I can go back up here. So all it's doing is pushing up the of each of those commits, and that's in essence of what you're doing. So you update something, then you save that, and then you push it up to GitHub.